Hi, this is Donna with the Waldorf Connection, and my cat Olive has joined us for video 2. She's sitting here beside me. She wants to hear about music and movement as well. In case she jumps around, you'll know what's going on. Okay, so from video 1, we talked about your goal and your next step, and I wanted you to discover what your next steps are, what your very next step is. And thank you for those who posted below in the Facebook comments. It's nice to see you responding down there, and I was able to help some of you through that, working out your next steps. Sometimes it can feel so overwhelming, and we talked about this last video. There's so much to Waldorf. There's so much. It feels like there's no way that I'm going to be able to learn all this. There's no way that I'm going to be able to pull this off. How can I do this? I'm just a mom. I don't know anything about painting or music or handwork or storytelling, but I really, really want this for my child. And I felt the same way, and my clients feel the same way. In fact, I'm working with a client right now who has 2 young children, and she was in the same situation where she was so excited about Waldorf, really wanted to jump in and get started, and then started to realize that it felt like way too much. It felt like this weight that was just choking her, and it was starting to some of her passion was starting to wane as she realized, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to do this? But we've worked through that. I've worked with her to take her step by step through the process and show her that it is doable. And now she's doing fantastic and is able to be confident to bring this amazing Waldorf homeschooling education to her boys. And I just want you to know that you guys can do it too. It's not easy, but there is simple steps you can follow to make it work. And I'm going to go through a lot of that during our video series. Okay, so let's move along here and talk about music and movement. Now that you've got your first step, your next step, we're going to talk about music and movement. So that's a real big part of Waldorf. Whether you have, really young children in the early childhood days, I'm talking about 4, 5, 6-year-olds, even younger. Music is part of their lives, and music is such a big part of Waldorf. You may hear different things about singing, that, it's expected that live music is brought to children versus recorded music. And I'm not going to talk about hard and fast rules here, but I think it is really important that your children hear you sing and that you start singing with your children. And movement is another big part, because young kids are moving, they're always running around. And when we start to get into first grade and up, movement games are part of the learning. The children will learn to do form drawing while they move. They will learn their letters by walking them on a driveway and doing them with hand motions. They will learn their times tables by doing movement games, riddles, different games in circle time. They will learn to use both sides of their body equally, up, down, back, forward, fast, slow. All of that is done to learn the polarities and to balance out a movement in our child, crossing the midline, and all of those amazing things, because movement and music are the precursors to academics. They are building brain synapses and will cause the child to be able to learn cognitively in a much deeper way later on. I know there are tons of studies out there about music and young children and how the music really helps with later academics. So 2 ways of bringing music and movement is through circle time, which is a really popular thing with Waldorf. Whether you have young children or even in the grades, circle time is usually brought before you do the main lesson, and depending on the age of your children, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 20 minutes. And ours started off a little bit shorter, and then as we got into the grades, we would add more things into circle time, like recorder, throwing bean bags and learning our times tables, spelling, mental math, and there are a lot of fun things to bring when you are doing circle time. It can also feel very intimidating. I remember thinking, circle time, oh my gosh, what is it supposed to look like? How does it work? Do we have to stand in a circle? You don't have to stand in a circle. If you only have one child and it's just you and them, however you can make it work will be fine. If you have 2 or 3 children, you can stand in a circle and walk around and do different movement games, but there's no one way to do circle time. I think whatever works out for you and your child, because this is real life. You're not in a Waldorf classroom with 20 students. You're just in your home, you know, with the dog barking and the phone ringing and the baby crying and just trying to make it work out. So however circle time can work for you, you don't have to be really stressed if it doesn't feel like it looks the right way. So your assignment today is to come up with one song, or think of one song that you already know that's age appropriate, of course, for your children. One song that you know. You don't have to be a great singer. It doesn't matter. It's just about the passion and about the love for singing. People don't sing like they used to, you know, in generations ago. And now it's become, you know, people think they don't have a good voice because they listen to recorded music and feel, oh, I could never sing like them. But that's not real singing. So modeling that for your child is really important. So your one assignment is to come up with one song that you already know that you would feel comfortable singing to your children and with your children in a circle time, or just throughout the day if you're washing dishes or, you know, doing some cleanup or just some normal chores around the house. So I want you to report below in the Facebook what that song is, and if you have questions about what song it should be, or a couple different questions about what types of songs or age appropriate ideas, go ahead and post your questions, and I'll be checking everyone. And I will see you over on video number 3. Bye-bye.